All right, so how what we can't perceive comes into what we can perceive. So ontology. So we've talked about physicalness, we've talked about relationships, and now we're talking about the kind of non-physicalness. And since it's a non-thing that we can sense with the five organs, we have to talk about it through something that we can sense. So that's why this stuff gets kind of difficult with the meridians, because meridians are a non-physical thing, and in Western we only study like physical things, right? Like my hand comes together because of the fascia and because of bones and but what is the organizing energy? Why does the atom, have the neutron and the proton and the electron? Why does it go in that form? Why does it stay in one place? Why does it sometimes not? It's the organizing energy, and that's something that we can't quite perceive, but we can perceive it through physicalness. So we need to understand this a little bit so that we can understand our reality, and this will go into our health, this will go into relationships, this will go into how we view the world. So we need to understand the yin and the yang. We have the physical and the non-physical, and how we perceive this. So if we look at my finger here, what is this in terms of direction? Well, it's up, right? Okay, well, what is it in terms of anatomy? It's a finger, okay? What is it in terms of numeric? Well, it's 1. Okay, great. So is this 1? Is this a 1? Or is it a finger? Or is it an up? So we need to understand that here is an isness, and again, this is going to, so we need to understand what realm we're talking about. So this is our way to view it in 1. Okay, I'm viewing it in anatomy. Okay, now I can say this is a finger, this is a phalange. These are the proximal and distal aspects of my phalange. Okay, that's the realm of anatomy. Okay, so the realm of numbers. Okay, 1. Great, so this would be 2, 3, 4. We've created these names and we can work in the system and realm of that. Direction, the realm of direction. Okay, there's up. Okay, there's that way. Okay, there's down. Okay, there's the other way. Now we can work in that realm. So we always decide what realm we're going to understand something in, and that will determine our reality. So another way to look at this is we have, so let's see if we can see the thing. We have the thing, all the everythingness that makes up this whatever, okay? And then we convert it. We convert it through language to become the physical thing. And when I say physical thing, of course, this is a physical thing. I can't, pass something through it. But we can think of, in these terms of yin and yang, yin being a physical thing, something that we can perceive with the 5 senses. When I convert something into language, I'm converting it into a sound or an image, or the things that I can then use to draw together to create the realm of language. So now I'm calling this a finger. This has become my reality. So the non-reality of whatever this is has now, through language, become a finger. The non-reality of whatever this is has come through language to become up. So when we're choosing a realm, it's important to stay in that realm so we can keep continuity of our reality. So to flush this out a little bit further, as we perceive our reality, we put names on things. Language is an accumulation and ordering of names. Names are just sounds of things, right? There's me, Jacob, there's this board, there and this and is are all just sounds put together to create this thing of whatever it is, but it is the logic of my words. So I'm using English right now, and I can do a lot of things with English. You can do a lot of things with math, numerically, because it checks itself out. You can do things with Spanish, you can do things with Mandarin, you can do different things with different languages. These symbols are the way to understand how life organizes itself. So there's the language of that. So as we put names on things, we need to understand our reality in which how we use names to exist in reality. So think of a tomato seed. Is the seed a tomato plant, or is the seed a tomato? Is the little sprout, once the seed sprouts, is that a tomato plant? Is the maturity of the tomato plant, where it's starting to bloom and it has tomato, is that a tomato plant? When it's withering and dying away, is that a tomato plant? When it's dead, is it still a tomato plant? So through the whole, is the name completely accurate of the state, the physical state of the tomato plant? As it's growing up, it looks, as when it's a seed, it's completely different there, right? When it's a little sprout, it's physically completely different. So the world that exists is separate from the names that we give it. But the more accurate we can name things, the better we can get a handle on reality. So it's important to understand that we have the non-physicalness of things, and then we have the physicalness of things. This is a board. Before it was a board, it was plastic. Before it was plastic, it was just some sort of organization of molecules. But the thing, this is not the name of the thing, but it is both the name of the thing and it is the non-thing. So there's the isness of it and there's the name I give it, and together those come together to create life. So we have that two idea of our opposites. We have the thing and we have the no thing. And it's important to understand that. So I hope that got across here, because we're moving through some pretty intense stuff here, or cool stuff here. So when people show up and they say they have depression, or they say they have anxiety, or they say they have something like that, it's just like this tomato plant. We say it's a tomato plant, but its physicality is always changing. So when we say we have, a diagnosis of anxiety or a diagnosis of depression, people typically paint the name as that's who they are. But are you anxious when you're asleep? Are you anxious when you're eating ice cream? Are you anxious when somebody just gave you a birthday card or something exciting? You change despite the name you identify with. So hopefully we've kind of flushed that idea out. So as we can understand this difference between names and reality, we can go back and look at our four, okay? So our seasons. We have the entering, we have the rising, we have the exiting, we have the falling, and again, that goes and becomes the 5 phases. And so we wake up in the morning, we're a certain state then. We're in the afternoon, we're a certain state then. We're in the evening, we're in a certain state then. We're at night, we're in a certain state then. We're not one single name. We are this evolving, changing thing of breathing in and breathing out, of waking up and going to sleep. So the name is just something we use to organize how we exist. So if we so this is how we can view reality, rather as someone coming in and being this thing. They're the guy I don't like, or they're the angry person, or they're the depressed person. That's not who they are. They are a culmination of these elements, and they may lean more towards a yin or yang idea, or more towards a fire or water idea. So, if, as we can understand these elements, if somebody is super, super angry, which would be like a wood type thing, then maybe they're leaning more towards anger. Maybe they don't like being angry, so we can add more of a metal aspect to their life to counterbalance that. So if wood is out of balance, maybe they're too angry. If fire is out of balance, maybe they're manically happy, so happy and excited about things that it detaches from reality. If they have, if their earth isn't balanced, it's almost like this, they might have like an anxiety type thing where they just can't quite process something. They're always stuck on it. You know, that's circle of thinking that never ends. It's like you can't process something. It's like earth. It just sits and stays still. So it'd be the stomach. For metal, it would be like a depression. So the metal is like the lungs. So it's almost like taking a breath in, and you just can't get it out. So you're not able to process things very well. Imbalance in metal. And then water would be like an imbalance. The imbalance in water would be like fear, constantly scared of things. Water would be like the bladder in the body, so things are just low, like there's weight on you, you can't quite deal with those things. So if we can see ourselves and people not as singular names, singular diagnoses, singular whatever, and we can see them as this culmination of yin and yang, this culmination of the 5 organs or the 5 elements, then we can start to see people in a completely different way, and then we can use this little graph to see what we need. You know, okay, maybe I'm super depressed or super scared of things, then I need to change my context. I need to think of something or be involved in something that is safe, like earth, something that's be a part of a place that is fertile, that helps me grow, that is more still. So we can use these combinations of elements to start to nourish what we need nourished, and maybe counterbalance what we need counterbalanced. So definitely watch this over again if you need to. You can always find these elements, and I've already talked about the elements in the previous videos, and this kind of yin and yang state of how we can understand it and think creatively and see, you know, maybe ask yourself, you know, where would I be imbalanced? You know, what's the opposite of, maybe I don't get out enough. Maybe I should get out. Maybe that would balance my system. Maybe I get out way too much, like I overtrain or I work really, really hard. Maybe I need to actually have some alone time. So this idea of ontology is the idea of the occurring. So when we see people, we don't see them as a name of something independent of time. We see people in that present time. And maybe it's the beginning of the day. Maybe it's the end of the day. How are they then? How are they in the springtime of the day? How are they in the fall time of the day? So we see people as they show up in the present, in that very moment, independent of names that do not abide by the rules of time. So I hope that gives you a different view on understanding people in life, seeing people as they show up in the present, and also being in the present, and that we are not stagnant things. We are always moving. So, reality and ontology.